Boston, they packed me up, my boy. God. Out of there. It's a bunch of emotions. I'm still processing everything, so give me some time. But I'm also looking forward to what's to come next. I will say there was definitely a message being sent, and that message was received. I wasn't thrilled with the amount of respect that was showed during this process. You know, I did feel like it was a lack of respect. At one point it was fine, and out of nowhere it just went left. I definitely think it's more to it. It definitely is more to it. I know Brad is getting a lot of the criticism, but you know, I just wish the more to it could have been explained. I just wish that they had the respect to just tell me what it was, and I would have understood and I would have respected that.
So a whole lot said by Jaylen Brown there, guys. We have more to come on that. But the overarching theme here, Perk, is that he feels disrespected by the Celtics in this process of being moved. Do you agree? Does he have the right to feel disrespected by his former team?
You damn right he do, and he should. And look, the message that was sent was from Brad Stevens and the Celtics is that we'll catch you in traffic. We will catch you in traffic. Because think about it. To trade him in the same conference to a division rival is saying we don't fear you. And from the looks of it, no one is losing any sleep within that organization. None of his teammates are afraid that he's in the same conference. And so when you think about Jaylen Brown, and yes, we may sit up here and say, hey man, they could have went about it another way. Well, they didn't. They went about it how they did it, and they stood on business. Matter of fact, they just re-signed Cato today, the big center. So again, when you talk about Jaylen Brown, everybody appreciate what he brought to the table since being drafted there, NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP. I mean, I get all that. But at the end of the day, he should feel some type of way. But I'm here to tell you that no one in that organization didn't get a good night rest last night. They feel comfortable with this squad going into next season. Brad Stevens feels comfortable about what he's going to add to the table. Is Derek White elevating his game? Peyton Pritchard, we heard him say that he could, basically get to Jalen Brunson type level. So Jaylen Brown should feel some type of way. I'm excited to see what's going to happen when he returns or the first game against the Celtics because, boy, it's going to be some smoke in the city.
Yeah, he should absolutely feel disrespected because it seems like Boston went out of their way to do this in the most disrespectful way possible. Like, there is a world in which Boston just says, look, we can't afford these two guys and build a team around them. You could say it's the second apron. You could say it's the Supermax. We're sorry. It's a tough decision. This dude did so much for us, but we got to say goodbye. That is perfectly reasonable, given the contracts, given new ownership, all of that. That's perfectly reasonable. But what the Celtics have done and continue to do, because now we're about 36 hours away from this trade. This trade happened a couple days ago, and they have still not given us good reason on why they moved on from Jaylen Brown and why they moved on from him in the way that they did to move him to Philadelphia. All we've heard was all of these whispers around about, is he too smart? Is he have attitude, analytics? He's holding these other people back and leaving us to piece all of this stuff together. And quite frankly, it's just leaving us to have this assumption about you calling this dude uppity. Is there something about the way that he carries himself that you just didn't want him on this team? If you are Boston, you have a responsibility to respect this man enough to say it is not these other issues. It's not this stuff about him not holding this team back. It's just a contract money issue. And the longer they stay silent about it, the more that increases the disrespect that he feels.
And that's a good place to go here because Jaylen Brown did mention, Perk, about how Brad Stevens is getting the brunt of the criticism here. And he wasn't thrilled with the way that he handled it. But Jaylen Brown said there's more to it than that. Like, what do you think he's referring to specifically?
Well, look, the organization had to pick a side. They had to pick their dude, and they picked him, and it's Jason Tatum. And so I know Jaylen Brown, he wants to be that 1A guy. He's proven this season, last season in the regular season, that he can be a 1A throughout the course of a regular season. He proved that. But at the end of the day, the Celtics didn't view it that way. The Celtics said that Jason Tatum, if we're going to pay anybody an extension and more max money, it is going to be Jason Tatum. And we're going to build around him. That was the statement. The statement was this franchise belongs to Jason Tatum. The future of the Boston Celtics belongs to Jason Tatum. Now, you could take it as a sign of disrespect, but at the end of the day, yes, it was a little bit of business that was decided with this when it comes down to the money and paying two guys $300+ million, and it was a lot of emotions in this. Because the one thing that I've looked and been waiting on over the last, since he's been traded, is to see which one of his former teammates was going to make a social media post. Because we know when guys are traded and, teammates depart ways and go their separate ways, the first thing they do in 2026 is take to the internet and show their appreciation for a certain individual. He didn't mention Jason Tatum on that stream last night. And Jason Tatum, last time I checked, I haven't seen a post saying, hey, man, thanks for the time we spent. My brother, always love. See you again. None of that. I ain't seen none of that. I haven't seen it from Derek White. I haven't seen it from Peyton Pritchard. Hell, even the statement that Jaylen Brown put out yesterday, he thanked the Celtic fan base, but he didn't thank the organization. He didn't thank the head coach. He didn't thank his teammates. So it got to be something there. I mean, everybody could speculate, but reading the writing on the wall, I mean, the signs and everything that is being showed tells me that, hey, man, there was something there. Not necessarily beef, but it was something that was going on in that organization.
Well, that's what Brad Stevens and Boston to handle in terms of, like you said they'd say, if we're picking Jason Tatum, just say it. When you look at a similar situation in Minnesota, right? It was Anthony Edwards. It was Karl Anthony Towns. They said, we cannot afford these two dudes. We had to pick one. Karl Anthony Towns goes to New York. And what does he do when he wins a championship? Karl Anthony Towns says, shout out to Anthony Edwards. Shout out to Minnesota. I understand what they had to do. He's FaceTiming Anthony Edwards. Something else is going on there in Boston, and they need to articulate exactly what it is. For Jaylen Brown himself to say, nobody has spoken to me to tell me what is going on, that is absolute disrespect. If they sit him down and say, look, we just cannot afford you, we're moving on, then do that. But all of this, they're creating this. They're creating this dissension. They're creating this nastiness, and they are creating a situation where Jaylen Brown is going to want to tear their heads off when he plays them in the playoffs, hopefully if they even make it to the playoffs.
Why do they have to articulate anything? They just showed him. I just told you that